Namaskaram, Sadhguru. This is Aniruddha Kirandalam from the Week magazine. Thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule to talk to us. It was a pleasure seeing you. It was a sheer joy seeing you travel on the bike like that in the US and enlightening us with all the experiences you've had. I'll come to the question, Sadhguru. My first question is, you're known as the coolest guru in the world who connects to people of all age groups and speaks the language of the common man. Your love for sports, music, dance, travel, road travelogues are what attracts people, young people especially. Has there been a conscious attempt on your part to be so different from many of the other popular spiritual leaders in the world?
Well, in my life, I was never exposed to any spiritual leader in the world, so I am the way I am. Well, some people like you, some people don't like you, that's their choices. But I didn't think I was cool, I thought I was hot. Because, you know, people have this unfortunate image of what a spiritual teacher should be, though in every generation through human history, they have come in different ways. Every time when they come, people think you should have been the way the previous person was. You know, all the time this expectation is there. But being in a country like India, where spirituality has happened in most exuberant ways, if you look at the greatest icons in our country, well, some of them were kings, all right? So obviously they dressed and acted in the way it was necessary for their circumstance. Well, there was Yogi. He is one kind because he lives in the mountains. Well, there has been Krishna. Well, today the most popular and well-known teaching that people see as spiritual is the Gita. People were asking me, Sadhguru, how come you can drive like this, you can ride like this? I said, Krishna is the most popular teaching for you. Well, I'm not an expert on Gita or something, but I'm just saying he's the most popular figure in terms of teaching, and the Gita is the most popular book in the country as a spiritual teaching. But you call him Parthasarathi, that means he was a great driver, that's why he's been taken into the battle as a driver for the top warrior out there. He must be a great driver, otherwise why would you take him into the battlefield as a driver? He would be sitting somewhere and blessing you. Well, I can also drive well. I don't know if I would be competition for him, I don't think, because I can't ride a chariot. I can drive a bullock cart. So, this whole thing about people's idea of a spiritual teacher is outsourced from calendar art, you know. One day I drive into a conference in Chennai, it was getting a little late, so I drove in a bit fast into the portico of the place, and some journalists were there, and they asked me, in the ancient times, yogis used to walk, how come you drive your own car? Then I said, you fool, in ancient times everybody was walking, not just yogis, everybody was walking, so he was also walking. Today if I come walking all the way from Chennai to Coimbatore, from Coimbatore to Chennai, you will say I am a fool. If I drive, you say you're not a yogi. What is your problem? Any spiritual teacher who cannot speak to the people who are living today and he speaks an ancient language, he should have been long time ago, he shouldn't be here.
True.
If you cannot talk to the people, if you cannot transform people around you, what is the point of you being any kind of a teacher, I'm asking?
Okay, Sadhguru. While launching Devi, Fire of Feminine, Sadhguru, during this year's Navratri, you said feminine was suppressed and sidelined around the world, but it continues to prevail in India. Despite that, deep-seated patriarchy and crimes against women are increasing in many parts of the country. How do we celebrate feminine while also raising awareness to end violence against women?
See, we are mistaking our current sociological and criminological situations with cultural attitudes that we have, with cultural qualities that we have. So I am talking about a cultural quality where today, of the entire world, India is the only place where still a feminine is worshipped. I want you to understand the significance of this, because everywhere 100% they believe a woman or a feminine figure is not worship worthy. 100%. She cannot be God. She comes from a certain level of impurity or whatever. This is the only culture which celebrates that, which must be highlighted in the world because this is very important for the future development of societies in the world. About crime against women, well, we have a way in the country because of political reasons or ideological reasons or religious reasons, we have this thing about highlighting every negative thing that happens in this country, exaggerating it beyond limits. Well, terrible crimes have happened in the last few years, a few which have come to everybody's conscience in the country. I don't want to mention them, they're so ugly, they're not worth, talking about. Such ugly things have happened. But if you go by the facts, you must understand, for example, in 2018, India reported about 33,000, around 33,000 rape cases. United States reported over 100,000 rape cases. Population, we are 4 times bigger, all right? Look at the averages.
Yeah.
Look at the averages. But they will put those things as ugly things, treat it as a crime and punish the guilty. We want to paint it across our faces and walk around the world to a point where people are beginning to think India is the rape capital of the world. Unfortunately, I'm telling you, somebody wants to come from Greece to our center. This lady wants to come, she's not a 18-year-old girl, she's over 45 years of age, she has 4 children, she's a full-fledged family, she wants to visit. All her tickets are booked, she wants to come, and then her husband says, no, you cannot go. So she cries and writes to me and wants to talk and says, Sadhguru, I cannot come. I know the family very well, I've stayed with them. Then I call him and ask, why are you stopping her? He says, no, I don't want my wife to be raped. I said, what are we doing to our country? You're painting this image across the world that every woman in this country is being raped. What is this nonsense we are doing? Yes, there is crime. Crime must be dealt with the law enforcement on one level when it happens. If it is happening too often, we must look at sociological changes, psychological aspects of this. We must understand from being in any society, there was a time, let's 100 years ago, a boy would or a man would get married by the time he's 20 and a woman would get married by the time he's 16, 17. This was the way. But today everybody is going into education, universities. No, most of them, both men and women are not married till 25, men are not married till 30, 35. So you must understand a human being has a biological side to them. If you do not address it, you don't want to address it, you don't even want to debate it, you don't want to address it in your families, about your boys and girls, what should happen to their sexuality, how should they deal with it, are you going to teach all of them, give them some initiation and make them transcend their sexuality and their biological urges, or are you going to address it in some way? If we don't have the courage to address anything, then these things happen. And above all, today, people are migrating in search of work. When people are in their family and social circumstances, you must understand human behavior is not controlled entirely either by one's conscience, one's consciousness or conscience. Society and family presence also controls human behavior. The moment the young man leaves his village and comes to the city, he is simply no family, no society, he is a reject. All he do is some work for 10, 12 hours and go and stay in most horrible conditions. And when he doesn't know what to do, when his urges take over, and alcohol we are selling in such great gusto because that is the main resource for a whole lot of state governments. Now when he puts a drop of alcohol in him, that guy loses all discretion and does terrible things. Most of the terrible crimes have happened by such workers who have come from elsewhere because they have no life. There is no possibility of life for them. And we created a whole lot of movies, nobody wants to take responsibility for this. I'm saying through 70s and 80s, I want you to look back and see, in the Hindi cinema, there used to be expert actors who are called as rape specialists. I can name them if you want. In every movie, action, romance, comedy, rape was part of the masala. with which movies were made. How come you do these things and inspire a whole generation to do those kind of horrendous acts and now you're surprised? That's not how it works. Now violence is just all over the place. Just look at the kind of television serials and stuff you're creating. Just see, we are imitating certain things and doing this now. I don't watch this, just when I'm flipping for news channels, if I see only, it's quite disgusting. Both men and women, how they handle their emotions. If you get angry, you take the food plate and smash it into somebody's face. This is becoming the common scene on the television, even advertisements. Commercial advertisements are showing this. Take a food plate and smash it in your face. I'm telling you, is it a pleasant experience for you or me that somebody smashed a food plate in our face? But this is the way you're supposed to handle your emotions. If you get angry, smash something in somebody's face. Who is the hero in your movie? Somebody who smashes somebody's face out, isn't it? So youth are talking the same language. Please understand, they are not reading any great literature. They are not reading or receiving any spiritual teaching. Their teaching is through social media and media. It's very important this is conducted responsibly. Well, social media, you never know what kind of animal it is, it's doing all kinds of things. At least the media, the visual media has to contain itself. I'm telling you, I was to talk to a musician, a young female musician in United States. So I was to talk to her, then I said, okay, let me listen to her music a little bit so that I know who I am talking to. Then somebody shows me one popular video of hers. She's on stage in her underpants. I ask, why is a musician walking around on the stage in underpants? And people tell me, Sadhguru, that's the only thing that sells. Well, if a woman wants to wear what she wants to wear, it's up to her. But she's wearing that because only that sells. This is exploitation of the woman. This is the real exploitation of the feminine, because now she has no other way to survive except going to these kind of lengths. So we must understand unnecessary highlighting of this is happening. It is a tremendous thing that still in every village, a woman is seen as worship-worthy. This is a tremendous thing, we must keep it up. It is important in every culture this comes up because this is also a kind of temperance in the society.
Guru, through Project Green Hands and Rally for Rivers, Isha Foundation is taking measures to increase the green cover in the country. You are encouraging close to 50 lakh farmers in the Kaveri River Basin to plant 2.42 billion trees over a 12-year period. How's the Kaveri Calling project progressing? What more needs to be done to make the world realize the importance of ecological conservation?
Well, the Kaveri Calling project, in spite of the pandemic, it is going on track. This year we had the goal of planting 11 million trees and it's almost complete, just maybe another 6–7% is short, which we will complete in the month of November because northeastern monsoon in Tamil Nadu facilitates that. So, our volunteers have been on the ground in spite of the pandemic. Unfortunately, those who went out to work in the villages in Karnataka, about 4 of our core volunteers, got the infection and we put them in quarantine and treatment in Mysore city. Now they've recovered in the last few days and they're back into action. So, a highly dedicated volunteer force of young people on the ground, both young men and women, and they are doing a fantastic job. We thought maybe this year we won't be able to fulfill the goals, but we are fulfilling the goals and next year it is being bumped up to a much higher level. Right now the biggest challenge is, see, we have gotten the policy changes. The policy changes that were necessary to make this tree-based agriculture a success is, one thing is, there is between… after planting the tree and going into crops, between 3 to 4 years, there is a little bit of economic loss for the farmer, a percentage of loss. Fortunately, we convinced the government to give a subsidy for this 4 years. For every growing tree, surviving tree, they are giving a subsidy of 125 rupees. Without this bridge, we couldn't make it a success. So this bridge is very significant and this is one reason why it is successful. Another reason is the campaign on the ground. We have involved political leaders from all parties, across party lines, on the panchayat level, at the MLA level, and involving them to propagate this because they now understand how significant it is, because this is not an experiment. There are over 70,000 farmers whose income has multiplied anywhere between 300 to 800% in the last 7 to 8 years. We have been doing this for nearly 20 years now in Tamil Nadu. Now we are focusing on the Kaveri belt, which is 83,000 square kilometers. Now the significance of this project is, and another impediment that was there for the law, for the thing in policy is, even if you grow a tree in your own land, if you cut it, police could come and arrest you, or forest department officials will come and arrest you. Activists will come and protest in front of your land. Unfortunately, this was the condition. So no farmer wants to have a tree on his land because it's trouble. So now we have changed this law, that today there is a law that you can cut the tree that you grow. Only thing is you must register the tree properly and cut it and take it to anywhere in the country. Across the state borders, you can transport it. You can sell it on a digital platform. The Environmental Ministry has set up this thing. It's very important. We are moving the trees from Forest Department to Agriculture Department. India is importing over 70,000 crores worth of raw timber and over 120,000 crores worth of timber products. This our farmers can grow. And this is also an insurance for the farmer. As you know, the number of farm suicides that have been happening, one simple way is that he has trees growing on his land. When other crops fail or market goes bad or something happens in his family, just cutting one tree, he can take care of himself. Now when I use the word cutting one tree, there are a whole lot of armchair environmentalists who'll bristle up and say, oh, he is encouraging cutting the trees. But they are growing the trees and cutting the trees. You are not doing anything. You can't grow a tree on your head, you need land. 84% of the land is in the hand of the farmers. If he does not grow trees, where do you grow trees, I'm asking? There is no question of increasing forest cover in the country because the population pressure is so high. If we preserve the existing forest, that's all. And one important thing is, in India, timber products and forests must be delinked. It's over. Our forests cannot be further exploited. If we want timber, we must grow it. This is the only way to do it. So this is what the project is about. United Nations agencies see that this is the best way to go ahead and they are with us as partners. Now I'm in US trying to, generate funds for the Kaveri calling, because planting 242 crore trees is not a joke. People don't seem to understand this. It needs enormous amount of funding. Though our organization is entirely volunteer-based, we are not paying any salaries to anybody, just the cost of labor and putting things together, transporting, campaigning and encouraging the farmers to do it. I feel if we complete 15 to 20% of the plantations, after that the momentum will be unstoppable. It will go by itself, because once the farmer sees the economic benefit of it, you cannot stop it.
In one of your discourses, Sadhguru, you had mentioned the need to stay fitter during the pandemic. You said none of your volunteers in India and abroad so far were infected with COVID-19, but you said now that two of your volunteers have got infected in the Kaveri Basin project on that work. How does one… Four, sir, four, yeah. So how does one stay happy, healthy, balanced and above all safe during a pandemic like the situation that we are facing right now?
Let me clear that.
Yeah.
Our volunteers are over 11 million across the world. So, there may be people who are infected I do not know of. I was talking about people who are living in the center, which is nearly 4,000 people in India, and whatever is here in United States center, nobody has been infected till now. Though we are active, we are engaging in the local community, still we are not infected because our protocols are so tight, and every one of them has practices which greatly enhances one's immune system. Now I traveled across 18 or 19 states of United States. Some of the states are highly infected. We went into the Native American reservations, which are highly infected, but the entire team has come back without a single infection. This is because our protocols are very tight. This is a demonstration. And the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, in one of his speeches, he mentioned that area doesn't seem to be affected because these 47 villages where we are working, there's hardly any infection. Because all this pandemic takes is, because we are the carriers, If we behave sensibly and we keep our immune system strong, well, this is the only answer. Well, slowly the whole world is realizing that is the only answer. Initially they thought there is going to be some magic wand that will come and save us. No, responsible and conscious behavior and a strong immune system is the only solution we have. That's the only solution we have had against any infection for that matter. So, we are also teaching very powerful systems of Kriya which is being taught to millions of people around the world right now, which is called a Simha Kriya, and there are certain simple aspects of yoga which is called as Upa Yoga. And we are also offering inner engineering online free of cost to all the medical personnel and the COVID warriors as they're referred to. Hundreds and thousands of people have gone through this. These are the simple tools you have to employ to keep the body in such a way that it knows how to resist whatever comes. When a heavy dose of infection comes, it may affect you. These 4 people who got infected are working in Karnataka villages closely with the farmers. Maintaining social distancing in rural Karnataka is a very difficult thing because they won't understand what it is, and it happens, and these 4 people got infected, we treated them, now they're back into action once again. But within the center, not a single person infected till now.
Guru, there is a lot of blame game happening all over the world. Some say this virus was purposely released from a lab in China, while some say it was the US Army that brought it all. So, according to you, who's to be blamed for this spread of virus? Is it the mankind who's to be blamed, or is it the nature? I mean, what was the cause for this virus?
See, the question is, are you interested in the problem or are you interested in the solution? I am interested in the solution. So people can go on propounding theories and theories, we don't know, nobody really knows. Well, it came from a certain geographical location, that much we know, but whether it came by intent or by accident or it happened naturally, it's anybody's guess. Every scientist has a different opinion. Forget about news medias and public having opinions. Scientists have different opinions, so obviously they also do not know, it's only guesswork. But we know the geographical location where it came from, so some people talk about it, that's not the issue. Right now the issue is how do we go beyond this? We must address that issue that needs all our intelligence and energy focused on that rather than propounding conspiracy theories. Okay, if you find somebody, I say it is Aniruddha who brought pandemic to the world, what do we do with you? I'm asking, what do we do? Is it a solution, finding you?
So this blame game, in the first place, it should not happen. I mean, you should rather find a
No, it's
solution.
meaningless.
Meaningless. Yeah.
It is the engagement of the vain mind simply unnecessarily going on propagating these things.
Yes. Sadhguru, you traveled on road with some of the volunteers and you had food that was prepared by them. I'm sure there is some planning that goes into such trips. Do you yourself decide which places you want to cover or which bike you want to ride, such details, or you simply follow what your team or volunteers tell you to do?
Do I look like that who simply follows what the team tells me to do? Well, I harass the teams every day as to what they should do from morning to evening. My life is like that I'm meticulous about every aspect of life, not just the motorcycle, even the tires, what it should be, everything is every aspect, because I cannot do things without involvement. My life is an absolute sense of involvement, whether it's a building or a motorcycle or anything and anything. I'm absolutely involved, including the food. Without giving a commentary on the food that I eat, I appreciate the people who have cooked for today, but without giving a commentary on what is right, what is wrong, how it could be better tomorrow, I can't complete my meal. This is who I am.
During your journey in the US, you met Will Smith, who has been following you for a while now. You mentioned to him that we are all bad directors of our own drama. What did you imply by that statement, and how was the experience talking to one of the most popular actors of Hollywood?
The thing is, I had heard his name. I had seen one movie of his, which was Muhammad Ali. I saw the movie because I liked Muhammad Ali. I did not know who Will Smith was. I had seen his pictures in his suits and things, then the first thing that came to me is, this is just the wrong actor. for playing Muhammad Ali? Would he have the muscles to, when he, in the boxing ring, when you go bare-bodied, can this actor do justice to him? But I said this to Will when I spoke to him and he said, Sadhguru, I had to work for 1.5 years, I trained before I went into the movie. Then I said, he looked good as Muhammad Ali. So that's all I knew about him and because I'm, at least in the last 25 years, I'm not following the movies in any sense. There's not been that kind of time for me, so I did not know how popular he was. It is just that he's been wanting to meet us in the last 2 years. Many times appointments were fixed, but I was in and out of LA, I couldn't see him and my schedules were always like this. Now that this virus has brought a little relaxation to the schedule and he was also eager to meet us, so we met him. So I don't meet people only because they're popular. Because they're popular, it goes everywhere. If I meet a local tribal person, if I go to the villages and speak, is anybody going to cover me? No. People always ask me, Sadhguru, why are you always with the rich and powerful? I said, only when I meet them, you turn on your camera. When I meet the tribal people, when I meet the rural people, 70% of my work is in rural India, do you ever come and turn on your camera on that? You don't. So, it is not about popularity, it is just that when a human being seeks sincerely, it matters. And when a human being also has the intent of influencing millions of people in the right direction, there is a more responsibility to meet that person and make sure it happens that way. Because people who have these great followings today, social media stars have following, film stars have following, sports stars have following, it's very, very, very important that they direct the people in the right direction. We were just at Memphis visiting Elvis Presley's, what do you call that, a museum or whatever. I'm saying for nearly 20 years he was a phenomena. When we were growing up, he was a phenomena, like he influenced the world in such a big way. Even though there was no media like today, in spite of that, his records, I'm saying physical records, sold in millions, all right? So, but in the end, he goes down in such a bad way and dies in a terrible way at the age of 42 or 43. Is that correct? 40…
Yeah,
42, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So I'm saying this is an American dream going bad, going down the chute. Similar things unfortunately happened to Michael Jackson. So this is important. When somebody who has a large following is moving in the right direction, talking about his inner nature, I'm very interested in that person, absolutely, because they can make a huge difference. They can touch millions of people's life just like that. So, taking them in the right direction is a big responsibility. When I said, for most people their life is a badly directed drama, see, a drama means there are three people. There is audience, there are actors and there's a director. Audience are the ones who are most deceived and don't have a picture in their head. Actors have to some extent, but sometimes most of the time, their picture also is part of the picture, not a whole picture. It's only the director who has a full picture of what is happening, what should happen. In your life, if you have a full picture, what should happen, how your experience of life should be, where it should go, well, I would call you the director of your life. And everybody should be the director of his or her life. Right now, that is the problem. They're acting like audience, sometimes like actors. Most of the time they're audience, they're complaining. All the time they're complaining. I'm miserable, I'm stressful, I'm tense. Why? When the entire human experience happens from within you, who are you telling that you're stressful? If you don't want to be, you should not be. You have never taken charge of your life. Director is someone who has taken charge of the drama. The drama of your life, you must take charge of it and run it the way you want. If every one of us lived just the way we want, this world will be so pleasant and fantastic, isn't it?
Guru, it is a coincidence that you are in the US at a time when the US presidential elections are being held now. The campaigning is going at full swing and the election date is approaching. You've been there for quite so many days. You've been there for so many days. Who, according to
I've been
you,
there for
as
last 4 elections because for springtime and fall time is the time when I'm always in United States. So I
yeah,
always happen to be here for US elections, not for
yeah.
the political purposes.
Yeah, political purpose, but this election, I think people all over the world are keenly looking at this election. So, I mean, who do you think has a better chance in this election? Is it Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Your personal opinion.
Let the people of United States determine that. I only hope they will determine that not on personal likes and dislikes, not on party affiliations, but on what is best for their country. Because in many ways, what is best for United States is also going to reflect on the well-being of the world. It's very important. It is going to particularly reflect on the well-being of India as a nation and on the world as a whole. So people of United States must understand that they have a responsibility not just for their individual likes and dislikes, well-being of their nation and in many ways being a leader in the world, whether you like it or not, they've become leaders in the world. Being leaders in the world as a nation, very important that every US voter considers the well-being of the world, who will be best for that nation and the rest of the world. That is what they should elect.
People are keenly looking forward to your next book, Sadhguru, Karma, a Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Own Destiny, which is out next year. What is this book all about, Sadhguru?
See, karma has become part of the English lexicon now. It's an English word, it's in the Oxford Dictionary, I think. I'm not somebody who ever studied dictionaries right from my childhood, I've never really looked at it. My language is from the street, from picking up here and there. So, having said that, I know it's become part of English language, everybody talks karma these days, even in the West. So when I've been looking at this people's understanding of karma, in India people are saying ayo karma, that means they are understanding it as their fate. In the West, they think it's some crime and punishment kind of business. So I thought it's best that we put proper light to this because this is the most dynamic way to approach your life. What karma means is action. Action that you are performing. You are performing physical action, mental action, emotional action and energetic action every moment of your life in wakefulness and sleep, you're performing this action. This continuous or incessant action that is going on in your life accumulates in the form of a certain type of memory. All this memory may not be conscious memory, most of it, over 95%, is unconscious memory, but depending on this is like you're creating an unconscious software. Memory as it builds up, it will start determining the tendencies and the way you behave and the way you make choices. Everything is determined by what kind of karmic information you gather over a period of time. So, karma means, fundamentally what it is saying is, your life is your karma. When we say this, your life is entirely your making. We are not looking up. Well, creation has given us these faculties, these capabilities. We didn't make the creation has happened, but now your experience of life is entirely your making. Only when people really understand this, will they create the life that they want to create for themselves. Otherwise, they are just one endless complaint, they think it's because of something. Right now, whether you're joyful or miserable is entirely your making. The situations in the world may not be entirely your making, but how you experience this situation is entirely your making. If you determine this one thing, you'll have wonderful people around you. Once there are wonderful people, you have a wonderful humanity around you. Once you have wonderful humanity, you have a fantastic world around you. This is what it is about. If you do not understand your life is your karma, you think somebody else is doing it to you, then you will become bitter, you will become hateful, you will lose all your sense of joy and peace, and right now, people don't know how to even sit at ease within themselves because they always think something else is doing things to them. Nothing else is doing things to us. Right now there's a pandemic in the world. It's our responsibility and it's our karma that we don't get infected and we make sure people around us are not infected. This is our business. This is our karma. If your karma you sneeze into other people's faces, well, it'll have its consequences. So, this karma is bringing light to that aspect of life which is most vital, that people need to understand the experience of their life is 100% their responsibility. This is what karma is about. It is the most dynamic way to exist.
Sadhguru, finally, it's been close to 8 months since you've addressed large gatherings. Isha Foundation is closed for visitors, I suppose, now. There are so many who are eager to meet you in person. Do you miss being amidst your followers with all the fanfare, dance, music that one sees in Isha Foundation, especially on days like the Mahashivratri?
All those events are arranged for the sake of the people, not for me. I'm at my best when I'm alone. I'm really at my best only when I'm alone. So, events are not there, I'm sure people are missing it, a lot of people are writing to us and asking us, when will it happen? Well, we will not do anything irresponsible just for the sake of celebration. One must understand, celebration is not in the activity that we perform, it is in the attitude with which we approach our life. Life is a celebration. If your energies are exuberant, if your mind is joyful, if your emotion is full of love, life is a celebration every day. We are in a culture, India as a culture had 365 festivals in a year. How fantastic life would have been, because we want to approach life as a celebration. We were agricultural communities, today we want to plow, there is a celebration for plowing. There is a song and dance for plowing. Tomorrow we want to plant the seed, there is a whole dance and music for planting. Day after tomorrow we want to do weeding, again another celebration. Harvesting, another celebration. Everything was approached as a celebration because celebration means you're non-serious about life. At the same time, no celebration can happen without absolute involvement. Absolutely involved, but non-serious. This is the condition that is necessary for you to pass through this life successfully and well as a beautiful life. Otherwise, many things happen in life, maybe the crop will fail and you will become bitter, it's happening today. I will tell you one reason, one of the reasons, there are economic reasons, that's a different matter. But one of the reasons why farmers are in such bitterness is, what used to be a joyful community activity, today is individual. Individually working on your land is a heartbreaking work, I'm telling you, because I've been a farmer myself, I know what it takes. It is a heartbreaking work. Your land, 3-4 acres is barbed wired around you. And you have to work just yourself. And if you want to do more, you must get your wife and children to work, or you must get labor. If you don't have the money, you have to not do the work properly. This is how it's working. But earlier, it used to be community work. Today's planting means entire village came and planted in your land and you planted in their land. There was a certain joy and celebratory aspect. This celebratory aspect being missing in work cultures is one of the reasons why people are so miserable. Right now, some studies are saying 70% of the people in America hate their work. How's that? Not dislike, they hate their work. 5 days in a week, they suffer. And thank God it's Friday. So what happens on Friday evening, Saturday evening and Sunday morning is, they are overdosed on alcohol or drugs, and Monday again in a miserable way go back to work. What kind of life is this? It's very important our work is celebratory. So whatever celebration in Isha you see is not just about having a party. This is our work, we are just doing it joyfully, that's all. But I am made like this, I don't need people to celebrate, I don't need music to dance, I am on my own rhythm, so I'm okay.
People would like to see you, Sadhguru. People would like to meet you. They are looking
Right
for…
now I'm zooming myself to them.
Yeah,
Well, it'll take some more time because if I come out, then thousands will gather and that's not a good thing to do, so I'm keeping myself away.
yeah. Thank you so much, Sadhguru, for talking to us, taking the time to talk to us. Thank you, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram, Aniruddha.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.